but they are still just like skeptical, like that sounds like it's too good to be true.
Hello world, this is Hoala Greevy, founder CEO of Paubox. I'm here in Gresham, Oregon with Andrew Vilius, Lifespan Psychiatric Consulting. And let's get started. Andrew, thanks for having us today.
You bet.
Can you tell me more about your practice?
So we provide psychiatric services to individuals across the lifespan, so children and adolescents all the way up to elderly individuals. We have 3 nurse practitioners that work here, all part-time, and 1 therapist, and we provide medication and counseling services.
And business is going pretty well, I hear.
Business is good.
That's great.
Yeah, business is good.
And how did you enter the field?
Well, I kind of came by it honestly. My father worked in the prison system as a health service manager, kind of ran the health department of a prison, and my mother was a case manager for mental health. And so I always had a interest in psychology and the brain, kind of how the brain worked. And my parents also told me that probably should leave the world a better place than when you arrived, and so I thought this would be fit in good.
Oh, that's great. How long have you had your practice?
Been in this location since 2012, and it was incorporated in 2007.
What are your thoughts on the fax machines prevalent in healthcare today?
Seems like one of those things that we just kind of can't get rid of. You know, it's just an old relic that it's hard to kind of leave behind.
You got any war stories?
I do some home visits to various group homes, and some of the group homes, they have a landline that's also connected to the fax line. So when I'm trying to fax them records or reports or orders or things, everybody's picking up the phone, and so then it doesn't go through, and so it's this sort of constant calling, hey, please don't pick up the phone, I'm trying to fax something, and then inevitably somebody didn't get the memo and they pick up the phone, and so that's probably, the sort of the biggest issue that I have.
What are your concerns around patient privacy?
In the mental health industry in general, we do a pretty good job of protecting patient privacy, just because it's part of sort of connecting with clients, coming into us very vulnerable, and so we do a pretty good job of on our own just protecting privacy. But a big thing in our world is compliance with HIPAA and trying to make sure that we don't sort of cross over and get ourselves into trouble there.
Right.
The fines are steep.
What was your workflow like before Paubox?
I did have an encrypted email system, but it did use like a web portal. When I first started using it, the portal required that you sort of provide a password to the recipient ahead of time. So I would have to like call them and give them the password, and they'd have to transcribe it correctly, or they'd get the email. The other thing was that it didn't really provide for searching very well. You couldn't search your encrypted emails because you wouldn't be able to access the body of the email in some type of program. So to find an old one, you'd be wading through these encrypted emails. With Paubox, none of that isn't really an issue.
Let's dig into that. You're a customer and also an investor. What's life been like after Paubox?
Much easier in terms of emailing encrypted information, that's for sure. There's no need for the web portal. I wish every other organization in healthcare would use it so that I wouldn't have to deal with their web portals.
You were talking about one where you couldn't even reply to the encrypted email? Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, there's a one that I get, I think it's called Barracuda, that like if they send me an encrypted email, I can read it, but I can't reply to the email. There's no inside the web portal, right? There's no ability to reply to it. And also if I reply to the message, just the message that, hey, you've received an encrypted email, I get a no reply email address. So I have to then sort of find the person's email address, create a new document that's not referencing, it's not a reply to that, and then send that, which is pretty frustrating.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's a publicly traded company.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
Oh man. What podcasts are you listening to? In
terms of like professionally, I don't listen to many podcasts. Most of my podcast listening is recreational sort of podcast. So I do a lot of hunting and fishing. So Meat Eater with Steven Ranella, Hunt Talk, Randy Newberg, Knock On, archery podcasts, stuff like that. And I'm big on like public land use and conservation and things like that. So these are sort of in that line.
And are you listening at normal speed or like a faster speed?
Usually faster speed. I feel like if it goes like 2 times, it's just way too fast. If it could keep the pitch maybe of the voice. Like I have this app, it's for like music, it's called Amazing Slow Downer. It uses some algorithm to like, you can slow a song down, but it keeps the pitch exactly the same.
Wow.
But I find that I get a little, it's just grating on me to like listen to somebody when going fast when their pitch is elevated. Right. So the app I use has some kind of smart silence thing that will skip long pauses.
No way.
A person has done. It's called Overcast.
Overcast.
Yeah, and it'll shorten those silences just kind of on its own. And so I usually have that on too.
So hunting and fishing, are you into the solar calendar? Do you follow that stuff? The solar lunar, solunar?
Yeah.
You're into that?
Oh yeah.
Because I'm into kayak fishing. I love that calendar.
Oh yeah.
I think it's pretty accurate.
Yeah, well, I'm actually going, I took my vacation, archery elk season starts next weekend.
Whoa. You can hunt elk on a bow?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and I took my vacation based on
No way.
the calendar. It starts next week, and then I have vacation the week after. It's basically the Labor Day week is the new moon right before the full moon.
Right on.
So we'll see. Hopefully we do good.
I always figured if you can predict fishing and hunting, probably people behave certain ways too, based on the solar calendar.
There's definitely the kind of like cliche, oh, it's a full moon out kind of thing. I sometimes wonder if that's just because it's light out but you can sort of skulk around in the dark a little easier, and get into more trouble, but who knows? Maybe more to do with it.
Andrew, thanks for your time today. Thanks for having us at your office.
You bet.
It's been a pleasure.
You bet.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, take care.